Hello, this is the 2025 LEGO Star Wars Ahsoka's Jedi Interceptor set. I paid $45 US for this. It's 45 euros, 40 pounds UK, or $60 Canadian. And that's for 290 pieces with 2 minifigures plus an astromech. I've seen a lot of fan debate about the new canopy here because it is new and the old one was fairly iconic, so I will spend a fair amount of time looking into that and talking about it from my perspective and try to compare things. But first we need to look at the whole thing because we're not just buying a canopy here. If you do buy the thing, we're not just looking at a canopy here. This does use a combination of prints and stickers, but mostly stickers. This is very, very swooshable, very nice and tight how everything goes together. Very low on gaps, easy to get these things opened, although they still don't have the little stoppers to make them end exactly where you want them to, so you kind of have to line that up manually. But new for this version that I really, really like, I've been looking forward to, is this right here. Just a little suggestion of internal paneling. You know, when these flaps open up, little radiator flaps open up. That's really nice, and it's on both sides, not on the undersides, but it's closer, definitely closer than it's been before. This actually does not look bad from the underside overall. I mean, these protrusions down here are too thick, definitely, but I think a lot of that just comes down to LEGO standards for durability, and they needed to lock all of the lower part of the astromech port into place so that that wouldn't come apart easily. Now you can, of course, put the astromech in full down in there like that, push it in, and it has a couple of, there we go, a couple of jumpers to hold it in so it's not going to stay behind. Of course, you want to rotate the head around when you do that, but that's generally how that works. This is a new feature that they haven't had before, and it's nice. It's fairly realistic to a little interesting shape that's on the quote-unquote real things, and I think it's pretty effective. It does have a sticker right there. This is a sticker. That's a sticker. Same thing for all 4 of these, but then the new canopy piece and the front end, those are prints, but this is the big new thing here. Going back and forth, considering the debate about the shape of this, the shape and the size, I've come to the conclusion personally that this shape is not bad. The shape of the canopy piece itself here is not bad, but this back here definitely throws things off. The additional little partial dome piece is added back here because it's got this large step, which really just visually throws things off. And the shape isn't perfect back there. It's not too bad, but the fact that you don't have that flat space on the back really takes a lot away when you look at this from the rear. This is just too much of the back of a bald head, you know, a white colored bald head. But I really do think that this shape here is good. However, the print is not, for several reasons. First of all, as always, and has always been the case, the white is not white enough, but that is not the big deal here to me at all. For a change, I mean, you can see how as soon as they overlap the white twice, it becomes just so much better, so much closer to actual white. But really, when I just stand back and look at this thing, the white lining, it doesn't bother me that much on this. Just realistically, you know, I'll give a little bit of grace. However, the red does. The red is much too dark. And the thing is, you know, the white kind of stands on its own here. It's supposed to blend back into this area here, but it doesn't. However, the red is right next to the red color that it's supposed to be. This is what it's supposed to be. It's also right next to it here. And it just makes it really obvious that it's off. It also, incidentally, increases the visual contrast between itself and this thing back here that's itself a little bit awkward. So it makes, you know, there's more of a visual contrast between those. It makes this stand out more. And, well, it just doesn't look that great overall to me. It makes it look more awkward, more different, more out of place on the whole. But also, I think that the graphic design work here for a change is not that great because this part of the window should be farther down. It should have a larger eye. It's squinting too much. So here's just a little quick in-person on-hand reference of how bubbly that canopy is supposed to look. If I can get it to focus, there we go. You know, obviously, you know, different color scheme, but just look how far down that goes. And it just makes for a much larger insectoid kind of look compared to this, which is really squinty. I really don't think that the shape of this is the problem. I think that if they had just opened this up, made it taken the white line down farther, opened that up, made it look more alert, I guess, it would have looked so much better and so much more accurate. And I think it would have been less distracting to us just how different it is from the way that it used to be. Speaking of, here's just an example of the previous canopy piece. And this just feels much more bubbly. Now, it is rounder here on the front, which is more accurate. This is a little bit less of that, but I think the overall shaping here is really not that bad. It's this area here, and then just the design of the window. Also, like, this feels like it's curving down, right? Which is correct. Whereas this almost doesn't, because it's curving in from as viewed from the top, but from the side, it's almost looking like it's curving up there, which is the opposite. I think that's mostly a graphic design issue in this case. And again, from the rear, you should definitely have much more flat and or open space, which here is just kind of translated down. I don't think that the engines are done that great. They're okay, but it could have been better. Yeah, just definitely a lot of things are kind of working against this in very small ways. Inside the cockpit, very simple, very, very simple. That is a sticker right there. No controls, no suggestions of controls, little joysticks or anything like that. That's unfortunate. At least they do give you a clip on the underside, one on either side for the two lightsabers for young Ahsoka there. And then that makes it really just hides away. So it's nicely integrated in. And this figure does have bendable legs. So even though she's short, she's able to go in there, and that's a good look. She doesn't have to lean way, way back. You can see the face there. Yeah, I think that's a nice presentation of the figure in the fighter. Last thing, this does have integrated spring-loaded shooters. They're down underneath the main fuselage rather than putting them on the wings here, which just hides them away much better. Although the tails will now show up. However, that is good for play because that's the intent here. So I can just hold this and swoosh it with one single hand. I can operate the foils out here, the little radiators. If I want, I can turn the head, pop the head off and turn the head of the astromech, and I can fire these off in a very natural way. So I think that's nicely done. And of course, if you don't want to see these, just fire them off and just, like I've had for the rest of the video, just leave them off and they really don't get in the way visually much, I think. Here are the three figures with a young Ahsoka, the least annoying and whiny version of Anakin, and then the astromech is R7A7. I think this young Ahsoka looks really, really good personally. Could have used more detail everywhere? Sure, but I think that it is good in and of itself as it is. The print quality is good. The graphic design work, I think, on it is good as a Legoification of a Clone Wars character. The Anakin, I don't know. Does he look older to you than he should for this time? Maybe just a little bit to me, maybe just a little bit. But overall, I think it's a pretty good figure. And I also like the astromech there. So for a change, I just don't really have much to complain about here. This is also a nice alternate face. This is a useful alternate face without having the Sith eyes there, but still being a mad Anakin, Just, I think, good stuff here. Not a lot of leftover pieces here. So why am I so zoomed out for this? That's a lot of stickering. I think they could have at least printed on one side, just the undersides. That would have been really nice if this was a print. And then if we just had to add these, I think would have been more reasonable. Again, the price here is $45 US, 45 euros, 40 pounds UK, or $60 Canadian. It's 290 pieces, and people who only ever look at the price to part ratio are going to have a fit about this. And I just can't speak their language whatsoever. Some folks would, with a straight face, try to say something like this should cost $20 today. And while I can definitely see that being reasonable for the amount of plastic that's here, the idea of this as a Star Wars thing being $20 today is preposterous. This is completely disassociated from reality. 5 years ago, this would have been $30. So today, there's no way it's going to be less than $35. It's going to be pushing 40. They're selling it for 45 because they're always going to ask for more than something is worth, no matter how kind you are to, looking at inflation and, relative to other products and stuff. They're always going to try to push for more because A lot of Star Wars fans have a lot of money and they want to give that money away to get something that has the brand on it. That's why these things are so overpriced in general, because so many of us are willing to pay the money. So many of us have the money and are willing to pay it. And thus, Lego as a company that's for profit has every right to charge those prices. And we have every right to say no, those of us who don't want to pay those kind of prices, to say no and just not buy the thing. At least not at full price. Just wait for it to go on sale. If it doesn't go on sale, Lego's releasing 800 plus sets per year. Get something else, or get something used, or look at other brands even. And seriously, that's what I've been doing more and more lately. I think that the value here is as bad as usual. I don't think that it's unusually overpriced. Looking at this reasonably relative to other things, I personally would also like it to be $30 today. $25 is not even an unreasonable thing to ask for this amount of plastic today. But there's no way that this would ever be that cheap because it's Star Wars and it's Lego. And Lego has never been cheap. Star Wars has never been cheap. That's too cheap though. That right there, not happy with. And Lego has never really been good at printing canopies. You look at those old ones, the old back in the good old days when these actually weren't printed that well either. Maybe a little bit better, but the biggest problem here is just the contrast, the visual contrast that you get. Seeing the white against this super dark red, seeing this super dark red compared right against, not only on the side, but also here in the front, compared to the color that it's supposed to be. And then this being so thick right here, this little edge right here, again, compounded by how unnecessarily dark this red is. And then also the white line, I think just the spherical projection of it, I think, really ruins it. Maybe it looks good from some angles. Is this kind of, maybe this is kind of right, but this sure ain't. And we see it from the side a lot. I think they should have put more emphasis on designing it to look better from the side. That shape right there is not bad, but that shape right there definitely is. And it really accentuates just how much bubbliness we've lost compared to the older design, which definitely looked more accurate from the side, and also just compared to the source material. So this is a little bit closer to a scale model compared to the source material. We're definitely losing some of that. There's too much of a pinch here. Yeah. So those are my thoughts about it overall. I think that in general, most of this is good. A lot of things to nitpick in this area, least of which, in my personal opinion, is the shape of this newer, smaller canopy piece. It's worse this and the print. The minifigures, I like. The swooshability here, level of detail of the build and everything is nice. Number of stickers is too much. Really think that these should have been printed. That would have been really useful. And then just give us stickers for the other side. I think would have been a nice compromise. Good toy though. Definitely a good toy. Just for folks looking for accuracy, bunch of things that can definitely be talked about at length. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that this was of some value to you, even if you completely disagree with my personal opinions. I hope that I've at least presented the product in a way that helps you to come to your own conclusions. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.